There's been a lot of conversation lately in terms of the meaning crisis. John Vervaeke did a great job for us framing that. And I think that that sort of captures the essence of it at both an individual and a collective level. I think that there's what's been called the wisdom famine that we're experiencing, which has put great strains on people psychologically, and it puts great strains on the world that we live in together. And I think that these are intricately related. So we find ourselves in a unique moment, and I think there's a challenge before us to re-envision, reimagine, reinvent religion and spirituality according to a way that matches our most complex and nuanced and scientifically informed sense of reality, but doesn't lose touch with our deeper psychological, emotional, and spiritual needs as human beings. And if we can do that, then hopefully we can make a lot of progress in terms of healing the wounds caused by this wisdom famine and this meaning crisis. So this course will try to situate this project, this endeavor within that context, and try to explain how we got here, and try to use that also to then gesture towards where we might be headed and where we could be headed if we were moving intentionally together with sort of a couple set of common principles, frameworks, and ideas. We'll be getting into that question at some length in the course. The simplest way I tend to frame it is that metamodern spirituality is the spirituality that we are seeing emerging in our present moment, arising after postmodernism, and that it's a particular approach to spirituality informed by the cultural sensibility of our time, but also an understanding of culture itself that we've got by means of cultural evolution and moving through different cultural codes in different periods. So it's a form of spirituality that takes very seriously the idea that we have different ways of being in the world, that historically we've gone through different phases and different stages of understanding things like the divine and God and meaning, let's just say, throw out a couple of topics. And metamodern spirituality tries to integrate and bring together a kind of comprehensive pluralism around these different modes of being. And I think that that's really important in a pluralistic society that we live in, and being complex beings ourselves and living in a complex world, we need to figure out how best to navigate all aspects of the society that we live in and the different kinds of ways of being in that society, but also internally the different parts of ourselves that we've moved through in our own development. And I think metamodern spirituality is sort of a term that's it's an open concept, in that we're all collectively seeing what this idea is. We're participating in its formulation together. And so that is another aspect of the course too, that this is sort of an invitation for people to be active participants and co-creators of this idea as well, and hopefully pool our understanding and our resources and get clarity, greater clarity on what is emerging in the field of spirituality today in metamodernity. So theopoetics comes from the words theos, meaning God, and poeia, meaning making or creation. And the notion here is that if we have moved through these different cultural codes, these different historical epochs and developmental stages, and we've experienced that historically, but we also experience that individually, then we'll be able to get a sense that there's sort of a evolutionary dynamic, an unfolding that's taking place, that new things are coming into reality, that there's new novel conceptions of the divine and the sacred, and that these come about by means of people putting things into the world, by means of art and literature and the ideas that we formulate, and philosophy, and all the stuff that we put into the world as cultural production gets taken up into our sense of identity and who we are and our own self-understanding, and it becomes shared with other people so that we have collective institutional forms of ways of thinking about these ideas. So given that we appreciate that these things are being created and generated, I think it just remains for us to become intentional about that activity, to be to adopt it very consciously, and to even appreciate it as a kind of solemn and sacred activity that we have a meaningful, deeply meaningful, and important purpose to, at least, or purpose to, or purpose in human life. Let us say, of being active participants in the shaping of divine ideas, images, symbols, etc. So that's what I mean by theopoetics or mythopoetics, and that'll be something that we'll be exploring a little bit in the course. I'd like people to feel empowered, I suppose, to feel like they really are part of something that requires them, that they have a causal significance in our culture and in this project of reimagining religion, spirituality, and the sacred in this very fraught and important moment. So that's a big thing. I also think that having greater knowledge, greater information, greater context and understanding about our current moment and the possibilities and the dangers of it is really crucial. So I hope that by the end of the course, people will have a deeper understanding of these things and a deeper appreciation for it, and hopefully deeper passion and deeper sense of engagement and excitement. We live in perilous times, but we also live in the kind of crux of possibility and the potential to shape the future in ways that reduce suffering and increase sustainability and flourishing. And I think that spirituality is key for that. So I'd like to bring all those things together for people by encouraging their participation and their passion and their interest and their understanding in these topics.